Om Agnanatimirandhasya Gnananjanashalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Sri Gurave Namaha Sri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Stapitam Ena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamahyam Dadati Swapadantikam. Hey Krishna Karuna Sindhu Vandeham Sri Guru Sri Yuta Padakamalam Sri Guru Vaishnavamsha Sri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunatanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadhutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Sri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Sri Vishakam Vitamsha. Hey Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandho Jagatpate Gopesh Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute तप्त कांचन गौरांगी राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्यैव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्तवृंद हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। Thank you, Mataji. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanan Namaskrityam Naram Chaivam Narottam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayatudihate Nashtaprayeshu Bhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavati Tamashloke Bhaktir Bhavati Nashtiki. Hare Krishna. We are reading the Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 1, Chapter 3, Text 30. I will recite the text 30 once and then we can all recite together. Itad rupam bhagavato hi arupyasya chid atmana maya gunir virachetam mahadadibhir atmani. Hare Krishna. Would anybody like to recite the text 30? Line by line, and then we can recite after you.
Yes, Mataji. Yeah, can do. Etadrupam bhagavato
Etadrupam bhagavato
hi arupyasya chidatmanaha
hi arupsya chidatmana
hi arupsya chidatmanaha
hi arupsya chidamana atmanah
maya gunair virachitam
maya guner virachitam
mahadadibir atmani.
mahadadibhir atmani. Hare Krishna. Would anybody like to read the word to word? Shobha Mataji, would you be able to do that?
Yes, yeah. Okay. Itat, all these.
Itat, all these.
Rupam, forms.
Rupam, forms.
Bhagavata, of the Lord.
Bhagavataha, of the Lord.
I, he, certainly.
He, certainly.
Arupasya, of one who has no material form.
Arupasya, of one who has no material form.
Chit Atmana, of the transcendence, Maya, no, of the transcendence.
Chit Atmanaha, of the transcendence.
Maya, material energy.
Maya, material energy.
Guna, by the quality.
Guna, by the qualities.
Virachitam, manufactured.
Virachitam, manufactured.
Mahat Adibhi, with the ingredients of matter.
Mahat Adibhihi, with the ingredients of matter.
Atmani, in the self.
Atmani, in the self.
Thank you.
Hare Krishna. Thank you, Mataji. Would Urmila Ben like to read the translation? Hare Krishna.
Next time.
Next time. Okay. Peter Prabhu, are you able to read the translation and purport? Hare Krishna. Okay, maybe I can read the translation and purport. Translation and purport by Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada ki Jai. Translation. The conception of the Virat universal form of the Lord as appearing in the material world is imaginary. It is to enable the less intelligent and neophytes to adjust to the idea of the Lord's having form. But factually, the Lord has no material form. Purport. The conception of the Lord known as the Vishwarup or the Virat Rup is particularly not mentioned along with various incarnations of the Lord because all the incarnations of the Lord mentioned above are transcendental and there is not a tinge of materialism in their bodies. There is no difference between the body and self as there is in the conditioned soul. The Virat Rupa is conceived for those who are just neophyte worshippers. For them, the material Virat Rupa is presented and it will be explained in the second canto. In the Virat Rupa, the material manifestations of the different planets have been conceived at his legs, hands, etc. Actually, all such descriptions are for the neophytes. The neophytes cannot conceive of anything beyond matter. The material conception of the Lord is not counted in the list of his factual forms. As Paramatma or Supersoul, the Lord is within each and every material form, even within the atoms. But the outward material form is but an imagination, both for the Lord and for the living beings. The present forms of the conditioned souls are also not factual. The conclusion is that the material conception of the body of the Lord as Virat is imaginary. Both the Lord and the living beings are living spirits and have original spiritual bodies. Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna, I'd like to give apologies on behalf of our Friday speaker, Sri Gauranga Das. He had another temple function, so he has not been able to join in. However, I have from the internet got Prabhupad's, from Prabhupada Vani's site, the original presentation. And also there is another very good talk by Balin, by Prabhuji from States. So Arya Govindas, which one should I put up?
Let's hear from Prabhupada, Mataji.
Okay. So give me 2 minutes. I will share my screen. Are you able to see my screen?
Yes, Mataji.
Translation. The conception of the Virata, universal form of the Lord, as appearing in the material world is imaginary. It is to enable the less intelligent and neophytes to adjust to the idea of the Lord having form, but factually the Lord has no material form.
So this is very important words. Form and formless. When we speak of formless, we speak that God or even living entity all of us, we have no material form. Just like we have got this form. But this form is temporary and it will never come again. As soon as this form is finished, I'll have to take another form. That form may not be exactly like this. So this is a formula for everyone. But for Krishna, he has no material form. He has got spiritual form. Therefore, his form is eternal. We do not remember our past lives, incidences, because the form has changed. But Krishna remembers because his form does not change. The evidence is the Bhagavad Gita. Krishna says, when he was questioned by Arjuna, how can I believe that you spoke this philosophy of Bhagavad Gita 400 millions of years ago to the sun god? The Krishna says that yes, you are also present there because you are my constant company. But you have forgotten, I remember. So, we do not forget things so long the form continues. When the form changes, every night we have got experience. Our form is lying on the bed, but I am dreaming in a different form. I am flying in the sky and forgetting that my real form is lying on the bed. We forget. We forget that I am American or I am the son of such and such gentleman. Everything forgot. Every night we have got this experience. So as soon as the form is forgotten, then everything is forgotten. With reference to the context. So, this universal form, the impersonalists, they are very much fond of this universal form. It is very favorable. But what is this universal form? This universal form is external expansion of the Supreme Form, Krishna. You can understand it very easily that we all living entities, we are the spiritual form, very minute. Materially, we cannot understand. But there is a form. We get the information from the Shastra, although we cannot see it with our material eyes. Shastra says that every living entity is 1/10,000 part of the tip of the hair. Shastra says. Everyone has seen the tip of the hair, but he has no idea how to divide it into 10,000 parts. Keshagra satavagasya satadha kalpitasya. Keshagra. Agra means tip. Kesha means hair. So you just imagine only that you see the top tip of the hair divide it into 10,000 parts. That one part is the form of the living entity. I was extending the that. केशाग्र शतभागस्य शतधा कल्पितस्य च जीव भाग सविज्ञेय च अनंताय कल्पते. That is the dimension of the living entity, and they are innumerable, ananta. There is no limit how many there. So that small particle, atomic spiritual energy, takes shelter by superior control. When a man dies, I'm speaking of man, every living entity is dying. So the spirit soul is taken to the court of judgment of Jamaraj. And according to his work, he is given a body. Next slide. How? By superior arrangement. That is stated in the Srimad. Karmana daiva netrena, just like ordinarily, suppose you are working somewhere, so your service record is there. Now, at the end of the year or at the end of some period, the service record is checked and you are giving promotion or increment, so many things are judged. Similarly, all our activities, what we are doing now, that is being recorded. There is a record. And after that, you are taken to the court of Jamala, the days of judgment. And the decision is made by the higher authority, what kind of body I or you shall get. This is the way. Karmana daiva netrena jantur diha upapattaye. Janta means living entities. For giving him a body, it is decided by the higher authorities. You cannot say, now give me the body of a king. Now you are American. And you cannot say, you cannot dictate that give me again the American body and the son of Rockefeller. No, that will be judged. What you have done. Of course, you have got this opportunity for your past activities, because to take birth in rich family or a rich nation, that is due to past activity. Past. Janmaisha Jasuta Sivi. Janma, birth, Vaishadya, riches, Sruta, education, and Sri and beauty. These things are obtained according to past activities. Not that everyone becomes educated. No, there is no such chance that we are discussing in this morning. There is no chance. Everything depends on some cause. Not that by chance anyone becomes very rich. No, one has to work for it. Not that by chance one becomes very educated. These things are not chances. So, as soon as there is no chance, there is cause, there must be judgment. There must be judgment. Otherwise, why one man is born rich and another man is working so hard, but he is lying down on the street? So there is judgment. So, the small particle of the living entity, by the judgment, superior judgment is transferred to the seminar of a particular father. And the living entity is injected in the womb of the female. And both secretion combined, the living entity develops body. This is the science. If you use contraceptive, that means if you contaminate the emulsion, the poor living entity cannot take place. That is contact. You cannot kill the living soul, but you make the circumstances unfavorable for his staying. And then he has to be transferred to another home. So many subtle laws are going on. But the basic principle is that a small particle of soul. Then the body develops. That we can see. Not that the pregnancy, on the day of pregnancy, immediately the body develops. No, it develops gradually. First it is just like a small pea, then gradually develops. As you see, the child born, he also develops. That is also not developed. That is transmigration from one body to another. Just like in a film, in cinema film, there are so many pictures, but when they are moved very swiftly, we see the picture is moving. But there are hundreds of pictures, they combine together. Similarly, the process of our change of body is so swift that we cannot perceive it. We think that it is growing. No, it is not growing. It is different bodies. So our point is that this small spiritual spark develops this body as we have developed this body. Similarly, this huge gigantic body of universal form is the development of Krishna's external body. This is also body. Therefore, as your bodily functions are going on nicely, because that spiritual spark is within, similarly, you see all these material activities, they are going nicely because the Supreme Lord is there. These rascal scientists, they cannot understand it. But any sane man can understand that these bodily functions are going on very nicely. So long the spirit soul is there. Similarly, all this material, big manifestation of material world is going on nicely because Krishna is there. What is the difficulty? Because Krishna is there. That is explained in the Bhagavad Gita. Vishtabhya aham idam jagat ekangsino sthito jagat. My dear Arjuna, Arjuna asked, Krishna, kindly explain how your energies are acting. So he explained in the 12th chapter. He explained how Krishna's energies are working, just like your energy is working on this body. Similarly, Krishna's energy also working in this universal body. So he summarized how his energies are working. Atva bahunaitina kinyatina tavarjuna. Arjuna, I shall go on explaining how my energies are working, but you can summarize that I in one of my plenary portion enter into this material world, and therefore it is going on so nice. So, as this material body is not our real form, the real form is within this body, spiritual. This body is explained as the dress. The dress is made when there is a real form. It's like you have got coat. Because you have got hands, the coat has got a hand. Your shirt, because you have got hand, the shirt has got a hand. But you are not the shirt or the coat. Similarly, because we are spiritual forms, maybe very minor, therefore we grow our hands and legs and heads and so many things. It is materially coated. So, here it is explained that people are very much fond of this universal form. They cannot imagine that a person, Krishna is a person, he can work so wonderfully. Because he cannot do it. How he can do it? He is very small. They do not understand. That is small fire and big fire. That's like spark. Spark is also fire. So spark can also burn, but it can burn very small portion. Suppose a spark falls on your cloth, it will burn immediately. It will make immediately black. But it is very small. Similarly, the difference between Krishna and me is that he is great, God is great, and I am small. Although qualitatively we are one. The same, big fire and small fire. Similarly, we have got also the same qualities, approximately, but very small quantity. We can play very wonderful by discovering some machine, say the machine, what is called, which goes to the moon planet, capsule, or we float something in the sky, Sputnik. But that is imitation of God. God is floating gigantic planets like sun, moon in the space. You cannot do that. You can float a small Sputnik. So you have got the creative power. God has got the creative power. But God's creative power cannot be compared with your creative power. You have got the creative power, but not exactly like God. This is the conclusion. You cannot become God. You can imitate, or you can do something very little, just like little children, they play with little toys. Similarly, you can play with little toys and advertise yourself great scientist. That's all. But you are nothing. You are nothing. This is to be realized. This is called Bhakti Yoga. The rascals are puffed up. I am God. Foolishly. How you can be God? You may have some qualities, very minute quality of God, but you cannot claim that you are God. The same example. The spark of fire is also fire. There is no doubt. A small particle of gold is gold, but it cannot be compared with the gold mine. That is not good. So these gigantic people, they are very much appreciative of the gigantic universal form. They do not Krishna. Why Krishna? He shall worship. He worships gigantic form. But this gigantic form is a product of Krishna's energy. They do not know that. Where it is said, Maya gunai vidachitam. By Krishna's energy, it is created. Maya gunai vidachitam mahadadivi atmani. The material energy. The material energy also from Krishna's body, as much as spiritual energy. Whatever we see, they are different energies of Krishna. Just like in the Vishnu Puran, it is said, Ekasthane sthita shagne josna vistarina jatha parasa brahmana shakti sarvedam akhilam jagat. Akhilam jagat, the vast universal form which you are seeing, it is nothing but parasa brahmana shakti. It is the manifestation of the energy of the Supreme Person. How? The example is given. The ekasthane sthita shagne, just like fire. Take the example of the sun, the biggest fire within this universe. It is situated in a place. The sun is not distributed. The sunshine is distributed. The sunshine may be covering the whole universe, but that is not very important. The sun globe is important. It is localized. Similarly, as the sun is distributing heat and light, remaining itself in one place, similarly, Krishna is playing with gopis in Goloka Vrindavan, and his sign is creating the whole universe. Not that Krishna is playing there, he's enjoying, therefore he's absent. No. Goloko eva nivasati yokhilatma bhuta. That is Krishna. Krishna is Goloka Vrindavan, but he is present everywhere. That is Krishna. I am sitting here, you are sitting here, you are not in an apartment. That is my position. But Krishna's position is that although he is always in Goloka Vrindavan, he is present everywhere. How? Annantarasthang paramanuchayantarasthang. He is within the every universe. Not only within every universe, he is within every atom. That is Krishna. That is Krishna. Don't think that Krishna is because he is playing as a cowherd boy or he is playing as a friend of the gopis. Therefore, he is ordinary man. The rascals imitate Krishna. They saw Krishna has enjoyed the gopis. Let me gather some young girls and enjoy. But you become universally represented everywhere. Then you enjoy. Rascal, he cannot do that. He can simply imitate how to be in the midst of young girls and enjoy. That is the difference. Thank you very much.
Hare Krishna. We've reached the end of Srila Prabhupada's Vani. Are there any questions or comments? I learned something new. There are lots of new things that I learned, but the one that struck me most is the universal form is an external expansion of Krishna, external expansion of Krishna. So I thought the universal form was Krishna, but that form is also an external expansion. So that is amazing.
Yes,
But
Mataji,
I don't understand that. Is it possible to explain that a bit more, please?
So this is according to what I have understood. So I'm just a very basic person, but what I understood from this is, so we have been looking at all the different expansions of Krishna throughout this chapter, that he's the source of all incarnations. And you know, the Virat Swarup, the universal form in which God has so many heads and so many hands and so many, it's quite a bhayanak Swarup, because Arjuna got scared after the Lord exhibited that form. That is not Krishna. That also is his expansion. But people don't, I think it is not mentioned anywhere that what we studied so far, the Virat Swarup was not a part of his incarnation. It was just his expansion. So he didn't incarnate. Like you had the Matsya Avatar, you had the other incarnations where Krishna came, and he came for a reason. But this Virat Swarup, this universal form, is an expansion of Krishna. Hare Krishna, can anybody throw more light on it? If I don't know whether I was clear, Panchali.
Yes, Mataji, no, I understood. So it means that Krishna originally, he's in with his flute, and he's got two hands. That's Krishna as we see him in Golok Vrindavan. But I thought the universal form is all of that is Krishna, where he doesn't want to show that to everybody, so he exists as his Golok Vrindavan form. But should it be required at any place or any time, then he brings that up, as he showed to Arjuna. He also showed it to Yashoda mother, and he also showed that in the Chaitanya Leela. So I thought that was Krishna as well. It's just that he doesn't show it to everybody. It's not. It's an expansion of his external energy. Oh, sorry, it's an expansion of his external form. Okay, I'm still not sure I understand the concept, but I understand what is being taught here. Yeah, thank you, Mataji.
Yeah. Like you, even I thought that Virat Swarup was the whole Krishna. But Krishna in his original form has the two hands, and he's in Golok Vrindavan. Arya Govindas Prabhuji or Avinash Prabhuji, are we thinking in the correct direction?
Yes, Mataji, nice example is given by Prabhupada that as like we have body and then we have soul, so our soul's energy is making the body work. So it's a nice example that Krishna is the soul of the entire creation, and then his soul is working on the material creation. So this is not an avatar like what we studied, like different guna avatar, yuga avatar, manvantara avatars, and different types of avatars. This is not the avatar. So this is an external expansion. Just like where we have body and soul is completely different. So something like that. So this is also I mean something new to me. I'm also learning. So I just thought, but like what I heard from Prabhupada, I'm just repeating.
Yeah. And I heard somewhere else. Sorry.
Hare Krishna Mataji.
Yes. Hare Krishna.
I didn't listen to the lecture because I joined late. But there is many places in Bhagavatam Virat Swarup comes. I can't remember which particular canto. But my understanding is limited. But I agree with what you said. it's a swarup, it only exists in the material realm. When the universe ends, it goes back. The purpose is to show people not his Goloka Swarup, Shamsundar Swarup. For example, for people who are materialists and who sometimes they would want to show his Swarup to sort of say how amazing the Lord is. For example, people who are non-believers and they want to show them how amazing the Lord is, they show this particular Swarup. It shows that Swarup, not the two-hand form as in Goloka. That form is, like you are when you become a devotee. That's my understanding of it. It's only exists as far as where the material world exists. It doesn't exist anywhere else. It's not spiritual in that sense. It's a material form, and it ends when the material world, when the universe ends. That's my understanding of it.
Thank you, Prabhuji. And it also says in the purport that this form is for neophytes. So for people who don't know about Krishna, I think this form is for them.
That's what I understood. It's for example, I mean, of course, Arjun wasn't a neophyte. Arjun was a pure devotee of the Lord, but he was behaving or showing as a neophyte, and the Lord showed him how wonderful, how powerful, how amazing, and how everything is him, so that he has nothing to worry about, so that he could to give him that the strength and that faith that he is who the Lord is, that he shouldn't worry and should fight. So that he showed that form, because at that point Arjun was not is not a devotee. Arjun took Krishna as his spiritual master, and I would expect that when Arjun becomes a pure devotee, as it goes through the process, then he would show. Well, actually, he did show the two-armed form afterwards. So yes, you're right. It's for the neophytes to show them how wonderful, how amazing the Lord is, because a lot of the time the neophytes don't understand the concept of something beyond beyond a higher understanding, a higher spiritual. So if they understand something material, so what they see in Virat Swarup is all material. The Lord as in so many heads, so many faces and hands and everything material, planets, all those sort of things. So it's a material thing. So the neophytes understand how amazing the concept of who God is. It's a first step to kickstart their shraddha, their faith in the Lord. And that's I think that's my understanding. I don't know whether that makes sense, Mataji.
Yes, it does. It does. It just makes us understand this better. And somewhere I heard Prabhuji Balbhadra Prabhuji from United States. He was initiated by Prabhupada, Srila Prabhupada, and in Los Angeles in 1974 or 72. Prabhupada was giving this same a talk on this same text, and he laughingly said that just as well that because we have a personal relationship with Krishna as devotees, so just as well he's not in that Virat Swarup, because how will you get the material to dress him? And how will you get the paraphernalia for all that Virat Swarup? That was on a lighter note, I heard Srila Prabhupada mention, which was so funny. So yes, so this form is for the neophytes and not for devotees. But obviously I'm a neophyte, and that is what I thought, that, oh, this is Krishna, this universal form. So
Hare
anyway,
Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
So yeah, chapter Canto 2 actually of Srimad Bhagavatam would expand on this quite a lot. So I think Canto 2, chapter 1, something from 20 to 27 or something like that, it talks about the universal form of the Lord. And Prabhupada's purport quite clearly explains about the form. And I'll just read one thing here. The conception of the universal form of the Lord's gives a chance to the materialist to think of the Supreme Lord. But the materialist must know for certain that his visualization of the world in the spirit of lording over it is not God realization. So then he talks quite, so chapter 2, it talks quite a lot about universal form of the Lord. And it gives us actually to appreciate his energy rather than himself. This is the universal form, is his energy. So we can appreciate. So when we see the sun and the moon are like the eyes of the Lord. So we think of the Lord in that way. So it also helps us to be Krishna conscious. You know, when we are walking, we see the trees, we see this is energy of the Lord. This is everything is energy of the, so this is how we should appreciate the form of the, it is materialistic thing, but still appreciate Lord. It's not Lord, it's just this external energy. Yeah.
And his external material energy, not
material
spiritual.
energy,
Not
external
even
material. It is, yeah, it is external material energy of the Lord.
So this is a great realization for me today. This is
Hare
something
Krishna,
that I
Prabhuji.
didn't even know. Hare Krishna. Yes.
Mataji and Prabhuji, thank you so much for explaining that. I think I understand a little bit. Thank you. First of all, thank you so much to all of you for explaining this. So just on the very last point, when you say expansion of the external material energy, but the external energy of Krishna is the material energy. So where is the external material? So we have here, I mean, by external energy, do we, by default, do we not mean that it is the material energy, or is there anything else?
You understood that correct, Mataji. External energy is material energy.
It is, yeah.
When we talk about energy in our scriptures, most things take a representation, and the representation of material energy is Durga.
Yeah.
Durga, Maya. That's the material energy.
Yeah. Okay, so this is a form which is for the neophytes, that exists only on the material platform, only in the material universes, and it is manifested or brought up or used by Krishna to show his, to show as and when needed in the material world, but he doesn't bring it up in the spiritual world. Is that am I?
That's correct. He does. That Swarup doesn't exist there. That Swarup in the spiritual platform, it depends where you are. If you are in the Vaikuntha platform, then it's the forearm, and if it's in the Goloka, then it's the two arms.
Yeah. Thank you, Prabhuji. I think I was getting confused because of the word Swarup. So if you're saying Swarup, that means it is automatically a Krishna. So why doesn't it exist in Golok? I think that I was getting confused with that. But thank you very much for explaining, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Any more comments or questions? I've thoroughly enjoyed today's session because it has made me listen very attentively and reason and question, and I was really focused. So thank you for explaining at the end.
Yeah, I would definitely recommend Mataji to read Canto 2 of Srimad Bhagavatam and just pick up on universal form to know more about it.
Okay, Prabhuji, will do. Will do.
Okay,
Thank
Hare
you.
Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Any more questions or comments? Okay, if there are no more questions or comments, we can probably end the session. Prahlad Prabhu, do you want to end the session? We haven't heard from you today.
Yes. Hare Krishna.
Hare
I
Krishna.
actually came slightly late. Sorry about that because of a program that's occurring in the temple. But anyway, this was a wonderful class by Srila Prabhupada. Nothing beats, like I always say, nothing beats the source material. So it was a very good class. So I would like to thank you all for joining this session and devoting 1 hour of your time towards Krishna consciousness. It's the little step that helps us towards our path to Godhead. So it may seem something small right now, shloka after shloka, doing this for multiple years, but it helps. So thank you all for joining. So I would like to request all the devotees assembled here to please unmute yourselves and let's chant the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra once. Hare
Hare
Krishna,
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Pancha
Kalpatarubhyascha kripa sindhubhyascha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha.
Srila Prabhupada ki,
Jai.
Iskon Lord ki,
Jai.
Go Pramanande.
Hari Bol.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.